How do you go from feeling depressed to being blessed in a very short amount of time? Maybe you know this feeling that life is pretty amazing, but you're not feeling that great. Life is great, but you're not feeling really good. How come? Why doesn't your feelings reflect the external situation? And oftentimes we try to fix our external situation, and then we fix our external situation and we still don't feel great. So how do we dissolve that? Today I will share with you 3 practical strategies, 3 practical steps actually you can take where in a very short amount of time, it could be minutes, sometimes an hour, sometimes multiple hours, to go from really, really feeling bad to feeling amazing and almost like feeling enlightened. So that's what I'm going to share with you today. So big disclaimer before we start is that if you are, for example, clinically depressed, don't listen to me. This is for people who are already done a lot of work into personal development, but just something is off. Like if you're really, really, really depressed, you can learn from this video, but please look at professional help because I'm not I am a professional, but not through this video. So, and maybe not technically a professional. Anyway, this morning I woke up and I just wasn't feeling great. I was feeling a little bit off. And I thought about it, and I journaled about it, and I talked about it, and it was just a little bit off. Not a little bit off, I was quite off actually. And my feelings weren't reflecting my external reality. So I was playing soccer with my boys, like we're here on beautiful Bali. We arrived a couple of days ago, and I was playing soccer with my boys on the beach. Beautiful weather, it doesn't really get better than that, right? But something was off, and I couldn't find out what. So what I did was really simple, and this is part 1 of the practice, but I'll explain the practice. This is something that I'm doing often, and also something that I'm helping my private clients with, is to really dissolve this feeling of depression. How do you dissolve the feeling of depression? Well, there's 3 steps. 1 is counterintuitive. Maybe it's very intuitive, but it's contrary to what most people preach. And it's the following. What we want to do oftentimes is whenever we don't feel great and we can't shake it off, we can't do some affirmations, we can't do a meditation, we can't do anything that really helps us getting out of that depressed state. What really can help and what's really valuable, but again, very contrarian to what most people preach, is give space to your dark self. Give space to your dark thoughts and give space to your dark feelings. So for example, this morning, I wasn't feeling great. I was like, I need to go for a walk. And I went for a little bit too long of a walk. That's why I look like a lobster right now. But I was walking, and again, the external was amazing. We're on Bali, and the family, and healthy, and everything good. Nothing really to fix. And went for this walk, and I was very aware of that I was feeling off. So I gave space to my dark self. And what this looks like is just ranting, rambling, talking, almost like I call it puking, not physically puking, but get it out of the system. So I was walking on the beach and I was talking about all the bad stuff that I feel and all the critical self-talk. What we oftentimes do, and I think most of us do this, we have critical self-talk. We're very negative in our thoughts, in our words, in the way we communicate to ourselves. We would never communicate this to our children or my friend or friends or family, whatever, but we do this to ourselves. So step 1 in the 3-step process from feeling depressed to being blessed is really, 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 really give space to your inner dark self. And it's nasty, it's bad, it's horrible. You don't want to share this with anybody, because if you share this with people think you are crazy. So I was walking and talking bad stuff about myself, about all the feelings, about all the things I've done wrong, all the things that happened to me, all the blah 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 blah, and I just keep talking, puking, talking, sharing, talking to myself, obviously. And if you do this, and you keep doing this and keep doing this and keep doing this until you don't have anything else to puke anymore, and this can take a couple of minutes, but this could also take like 10 minutes or maybe even 15 minutes or whatever. It can take a while. Usually within a couple of minutes, maybe 5 minutes, 10 minutes, you're good. But you just keep going. It's almost, you can almost compare it to a child who is angry. So a child who is angry, it's impossible, trust me, it's impossible if your child is angry to like, oh, just be happy or just be grateful or just surrender or whatever. No, they need to get it out of the system. And once they get it out of the system, what happens? Well, then what happens oftentimes is they get sad. So they get from angry to sad. So this is also something that's almost similar to this process. So step number 1, give space to your dark self and just talk. Don't judge what you're saying. Also, don't put too many thoughts to what you're saying, and also don't value too much what you're saying. Just get it out of the system. And once it's completely out of the system, you just said everything and said a little bit more, until you almost depleted your dark self, your dark inner thoughts, inner feelings, all the things. Again, this can take a while if you're really in a bad spot. Once you're there, and there's nothing really to share because you shared everything, and maybe shared everything 2 or 3 or 4 times, it's fine. Once you're there, that's phase number 1, then you enter phase number 2. And phase number 2 is rest a little bit. For me, I was still walking, but rest a little bit. Don't give it too much thought. Don't give it too much meaning. Don't whatever. And then there's space for you to acknowledge. Acknowledge what you've been through. Acknowledge who you are. Acknowledge all the things that are important to you. So for me, I've had an extraordinary but also very difficult last couple of years on a personal level. So it's been a lot. So last month has been a lot. And the last 6 months has been a lot. And the last 2 years has been a lot. But also the last 3 years has been a lot. And I'm grateful, man. Like I'm happy where I'm at. I'm happy everything that happened. So I'm in a really good spot. I wouldn't have wanted any other way. So I'm happy with where I am at, and I'm also happy with everything that happened. That's all. I know this and I feel this. But it was a lot. So for example, this morning, the first phase, puking, talking, like give space to my dark self. And the second part was like, wow, dude, this was a lot. Last month alone has been a lot for you. And the last couple of days is almost like already been a lot. So it's a lot. And so really acknowledging yourself for who you are and what you've been through. And this, it's almost like you go from cursing to compassion. You go from anger to compassion for yourself and also compassion for other people. So in the first phase, you can be angry at yourself, but you can also be angry at a lot of people, or at life, or at the government, or whatever. You can be angry at anything. And then if you depleted that part, then there's room and space for acknowledgement. And you can also, and you probably will also acknowledge other people as well during this phase. So you go from depleting the dark self, which is something that's always there, and it'll stay with you for the rest of your life, and just acknowledging that part is fine as well. Then the second part is acknowledging yourself for whatever has not been easy for you, because life is not easy. Life is really extraordinary. Life is awesome. Life is fun. Life is creativity. Life is blessings. Life is all the things, but it's also very challenging. Or it can be also very challenging. So acknowledging that part and really almost like give love to your inner child. In the first phase, you also give space to your inner child. Just let it rage. And then the second part, you acknowledge like, okay, dude, or do that. I see you. I feel you. And wow, you have been through a lot and you are really awesome. And like, it's okay. It's okay. And if you do this, this is basically it. Like these are the two most important things. And if you do these two things, then after that you will feel a sense of peace, a sense of relief. You will feel yourself again. Like in the first phase, you don't really feel yourself. Then there's space to really start feeling yourself again. I know a lot of people have a lot of trouble feeling themselves. And that's oftentimes because they have a lot of rage or a lot of guilt or a lot of shame in their system. Once you have the space, once you do acknowledge yourself, then there's room for a third phase. And this is like an optional phase because this is not something that you really, really, really need. But this is just like a dessert. You just had a really interesting meal and now you have an amazing dessert. And the amazing dessert is 3 you can really think about, like, okay, and feel about what am I grateful for. So you can make room for grace. But also, this is also a moment, and hopefully after you've done the first 2 phases, you have like a full day or multiple days or maybe even multiple weeks. And sometimes you need to do this repetitively, like every day, every other day, to really dissolve a lot of triggers and dissolve a lot of anger and dissolve a lot of resentment and dissolve a lot of whatever you need to dissolve. But once you really have the space, then it's time for grace, but it's also time to really see who you truly are. See who or what your potential is. See what your higher self is. See or who your higher self is. See what you're capable of doing. Really owning who you truly are and getting excited about who you truly am, because it's so excited and so exciting to be you, right? Like if you are free and if you are happy and if you can move and like really be fully in this life, how amazing is it to be you? And what are you capable of doing? How can you express yourself? What can you create? Like what kind of life can you create for yourself if you're there? So that's the third phase. The third phase is just optional. Just think of cool things, be grateful, make a list of things you're grateful at. Really, journal about who are you truly, what are you capable of, or whatever cool thing you can think of to solidify what you just went through. So again, and I'm recapping maybe a bit too often, but that's okay. First phase, give space to your dark self. So I did this through a walk, but you can do this in multiple ways. What I oftentimes do is whenever I feel off, I do it on my phone. So I do this on my phone. And I have a document in my notes, in my Apple Notes, and it's called Samskaras. It's a document, and I just go off. If I feel bad, phase 1, I just go off and I type. I type. Type a bit more. Oh, I think I'm done. I think I've shared all the bad. Oh no, I got something else. Type. Oh, type. And then it's like, I don't know anything else negative to say anymore. I mean, I've done through, and if you would look at this document on my phone, it's the worst stuff. If my kids ever see this document, they'll be like, oh, my father, he's an animal. Like, he's an animal. Like, he's crazy. The things he says about himself and the things he says about this person and this person and this person, like, how? Like, who is this guy? But it's in our system. Like, we have those thoughts, we have those feelings, gotta get out. So I oftentimes do it on my phone. You could also journal, but what's really helpful for me because I'm a big fan of journaling. But what's helpful while I'm typing is you can really get it out of your system quickly. I'm typing quicker than I'm writing. If you write, I would suggest do it in a different journal. So I have a separate journal, which is also a journal I don't want anybody else to see, because it's about my dark stuff. It just give room for my dark stuff. And then type. And then the second part is acknowledging yourself. And you can do this through meditation, or you can do just really sitting still, or just talking to yourself, or acknowledging yourself. And the third one that's awesome to journal is like, okay, what am I grateful for? Or who am I really? Or what am I capable of? And so you can do this in multiple ways. You can also do this with somebody who's really present with you. Maybe you have a friend or a partner who's really present with you. Who you can really truly trust, or maybe a therapist who is just very present with those 3 phases. The first one is just okay, get it out of your system. What's in your system? Just share with me. And you can share with a person. And then, okay, maybe together really acknowledge like who you are and what you've been through and what it's been like for you. And then the third phase, okay, but now let's get excited. Like, who are you really and what are you capable of? So these are the three phases, and you can do it whatever way you like. You can do it through in person, you can do it by yourself while walking, you can do it on your phone, you can do it in a journal. But take time for this. Probably won't be perfect, which is fine. But this is really something that's truly, truly helpful. I mean, I love personal development. I love affirmations. I love meditation. I love reading. I love journaling. I love all the things. But oftentimes those things, they don't really work. And sometimes they really, like, they are contrary to whatever you like to achieve. So for example, if you feel bad about yourself, I'm not a big fan of affirmations. Like, if you feel bad about yourself, and I look in a mirror, like literally here's a mirror, like, oh, you're great. You say you're great, but unconsciously or subconsciously, you know, like, I'm not great. And so you almost confirm to yourself that you're not great. And plus you see yourself as a liar because you say something that you don't believe. So there's a lot of great things. And I also love affirmations, but not whenever you feel like this. And I think this is just really practical. This helped me out so much. Up until I figured this out, it was like 4 years ago. I'm 44. I just turned 44. Up until 4 years ago, my life was pretty consistent. Up until I was 40, pretty consistent. Good life, great life, good things, good career, good health, good friends, good family, everything good, but I wasn't feeling amazing. And the moment I really saw this, like, wow, I do have a lot of negative self-talk. I never really knew until I really figured out, like, wow, I have certain beliefs about myself. Up until that point, I was always looking at how can I improve myself? How can I become better? Because obviously something is feeling off. Well, maybe I should get healthier. Or maybe I should make more money. Or maybe I should have more purpose. Or maybe I should have a better career. Or maybe my partner isn't correct. Or whatever it is. Until I really figured out, like, no, it's in me. And that was the moment that changed my life and made me so much more of who I am, and made me feel so much more. And this is what we want. We want to feel more. We want to feel more of ourselves, and this is a great way. So hope you enjoy this lesson of the day. Let me know in the comments. Really appreciate that. And yeah, see you at another video.